Okay, so hopefully the audio has been fixed. I just tested it twice, and I don't know if it's because like I moved the phone, because I just the one that the way I had it like before, I felt like it was like slanted and it was just an awkward angle. I don't know why we're having audio issues. I think it's actually YouTube's fault. I said Apple on my when I did a premiere yesterday for the there's my Blu-ray collection. I don't know why the audio is so weird. I don't, and I hate it because it's like it'll go like this, and then I go really loud, and then it's like so annoying, and I can't fix it. I don't know how to fix it. Thankfully, it's just been the last two videos, and one of the videos that it had awkward audio with, I'm going to be revamping today. Well, recording it today. But without further ado, let's get into the comic reviews. Um, First one up is Ghost in the Shell. So it's movies and comics. First one up is Ghost in the Shell, and I didn't really like this movie. I tried, tried. It started out pretty good. Like, it started out pretty interesting, and it was felt like it was a bit unique, and it wasn't like I knew it wasn't gonna be like the next Blade Runner or the next or even the next Dune or whatever. Or, I don't know why I can only think of two sci-fi movies similar to this, or next Arrival or whatever like that. But I wanted to at least be interesting. It kind of was boring, honestly. I was kind of waiting for it to end, and I do need to check out the original anime, but I kind of had no real interest in seeing that either. But I know I know that one's better, obviously. But I wanted it to be, at least be interesting, and it wasn't. And but it did start out kind of interesting. So to the next one, and that is Gemini Man. The first 30 minutes, if it had kept if it kept its momentum from the I was gonna say sticking the landing, but if it kept its momentum from the first 30 minutes throughout the rest of the movie, I think this would have been at least interesting. But this kind of got boring and it wasn't really interesting after a while. I don't know if it was just because like this one it was like 2 hours and I felt like it could have been an hour and a half. That's what I said about like a lot of these movies. That they could have been an hour and a half, and I would like them a lot more. The first two, at least. Um, but like, and I'm not like, as you'll see with the next movie, I'm not a picky movie watcher. If you at least make it interesting, I'll give it a free pass. But this wasn't. The first 30 minutes were. I don't know why. I don't know like what changed, but I knew it was gonna be a generic action movie too. I knew it wasn't gonna be. It was gonna be just gonna change the medium or anything like that. But it should have at least been interesting, and it really wasn't. Then we have the New Mutants, and like the first time, I actually like this movie. It is a bit forgettable. I will give it that, but it was at least interesting. And it was an hour and a half too. I feel like Gemini Man and Ghost in the Shell. If those two were an hour and a half, maybe I like them a little bit more. So maybe it was the pacing with those two movies. It's probably what it was. Then The Intern is one of those movies that does not hold up as well, but I still recommend it if you like those kinds of movies. Watch the trailer and think you like the movie, you probably will. It's one of those movies. The trailer is going to be a good indication of whether you will or won't like the movie. Now these two I did not finish. And these are David F. Walker biographies of the Black Panther Party and Frederick Douglass. Both of these were show don't tell. Exactly what I thought it was going to be. Exactly what I was kind of apprehensive about these books. For the longest time, I did not check these out. Black Panther Party, I was going to check out like 2 months ago. Not 2 months, sorry, 1 month ago in September. At the end of September, technically 2 months. But at the end of September, I was gonna check out Black Panther Party because I got in Bitter Roots, and it's like, okay, let's get David F. Walker book. Oh yeah, they have this one, and it was just a show, and I didn't want to get it. It's like I don't remember liking that much. And it was a show don't tell. It was just telling you. It was basically an essay. I went into more depth in this with the community post and with not yesterday's video, but was it yesterday's video? No, sorry, Sunday's video. With Sunday's video, I went more in depth of what I like about these kinds of books and I don't like. And basically, like My Friend Dahmer and the Eddie Gain book, I like those because yeah, I did tell you sometimes it was summarizing certain parts, but it was because it had to. That was just kind of I didn't mind that because it was brief. But this is just all like On November 15th, 1952, Rosa Parks wouldn't sit in her designated seat. This was because of the fact that she didn't like segregation. It was just an essay, and I don't. And yeah, I had pictures in it, cool, like a comic book like that. I just not my cup of tea at all. So I did not finish any of these. I didn't even start with Frederick Douglass. I didn't even want to give it a chance. I just decided to read the other books I need to finish, which is good because these next two I had. Oh, actually not these next two. Technically these next two, next three, but this one is Vader Down, and it is so damn good. I really, really enjoy both of these series actually, the Jason Aaron Star Wars run and then Darth Vader Kieran Gillen run. I don't usually for the longest time I wouldn't even read like licensed comics. I was like, oh, it's the movies. Why read the book? It's based off the movies. Yada yada yada. But this has been my turning point, and there's a reason for why I decided to finally read those Star Wars books way back when. Because I've read these books like 18 different times. And I've been able to finish them technically. I finished the Jason Aaron run and Kieran Gillen. Well, actually, I did finish the runs. Like Jason Aaron's run, I finished off Star Wars, and Kieran Gillen's Darth Vader, I finished. It was just like it was a maxi series. But there is a Kieran Gillen Star Wars run I was not able to finish. I believe I read the first volume of his run, but it's enjoyable. It's one thing I will give it is to introduce new characters. And this is supposed to take place between episodes 4 and 5, and they do introduce new characters. And that's the one thing I'm like, well, episode 5 they're not gonna say anything. Oh, what happened to this character? You know, oh, and obviously I'm gonna say anything about it in episode 5, but that's a brief. It's like a little like a small some nitpicks, and it's not really it's just more observational more than anything. It's not something that makes or breaks the comic for me. It's something I noticed. It was kind of funny, if anything. So this next one, along with the one after this, I was a binge reading, and this one I don't think I should ever binge read this series because it's a very repetitive kind of book. It's the Iron Fist Epic Collection, by the way. Sometimes I actually tell you what the book is. I didn't do that. But binge reading a book like Iron Fist, where it's kind of repetitive, was not the best thing. I still like the series. I still think it's a good one. I still think that it's worthy of its omnibus a reprint. I still think it's worthy of getting the omnibus treatment later this year. Actually, I'd say next year. But it's just one of those books I probably will read once a year, if that. And it's just kind of one of those books that you remember enough from it, and you don't, even if you forget certain parts, like oh yeah, what happened in this issue? I kind of forgot. For me, it's not enough for me to pick up the book. Whereas for every other book, that is enough. But don't get me wrong, I still like this book. It's just kind of one of those books that I don't like enough to read again and again and again. I probably will take a year off at least for this book. And honestly, the only reason why I picked up Iron Fist was because it was an epic collection. I had 3 other epic collections. And the reason why I had to binge read it, I mentioned this on Sunday's video, was because I gotta return this book. It's due on the 9th, and I can't renew it because someone else has it on hold. And I don't want to be, even though I could renew it, I don't want to be a jerk and be like, well, I need to keep it because I read it more, not slower than others would, but just kind of like, I could read more than 2 per day, but I chose not to do that thing, which I choose not to do that thing. All that. So this next one is, I keep saying the next one, it's not the next one, but this is the next one. I just changed the order of the books. Is Future's End, and this was a perfect book to binge read. It's action. It's basically watching like an action movie, kind of thing. Because there's a lot of action in it. But it's also like, yeah, I'd say it's like watching an action movie. It's just pure fun. You know, it knows how to keep your interest throughout, and it succeeds at that. Now I'm gonna be reviewing the whole entire Future's End technically, but it just like throughout the entire series, I think there was only like a couple issues that I was a little bit bored with. I was like, okay, let's pick up the pace, and I was kind of like, oh, I need to read more of this, but that was again very brief, so to speak. There's only a couple issues that I felt that way, but it's still a very interesting series. Not like groundbreaking or anything like that. I understand why people wouldn't like the series, but I liked Future's End. This was very. It was at least fun. Kept your interest. Um, so then we have Ruby Justice League, which didn't keep my interest throughout. This was honestly kind of boring. I think it's Marguerite Bennett. I don't think I like her writing. So I didn't like her Angela book, but this one I just felt was pretty boring. Um, I did have to read I did read the entire series at once because it was one of those technically it's an OGN because they say it's 7 issues. It's actually 14 of the those little digital firsts. I did find that I did research that, and yes, it was 14. It was actually the 14 digital issues. Digital issues they cut in half kind of thing. It's I know it's complicated the way I'm saying it, but basically they made it into 7 issues. Here they had 7 issues. It was actually 14 because it's just the way they did it. Basically, like they did with the Batman Universe. If you remember that series from Michael Bendis, it was not originally a 6-issue miniseries. It came in those 100-page giants, but they took all the series of those and they put them into 6. They did the same with that Tom King Superman book, which is I think the only Tom King book I enjoyed throughout. And that was probably because it was only 6 issues too. But that one was also part of the 100-page giants, and I made it into 6 issues, and I released them as 6 issues, like physically 6 issues. Same with Batman Universe. And I had those. Actually, no. One I have in trade. Well, technically, I actually have both in floppies. I didn't finish Superman in floppies. I need to trade to finish out the series itself. I know it's very complicated, and you guys don't really know about. You guys don't really care about that, but yeah. But did not really like that this book. And yes, I'm making this a thumbnail because I made the thumbnail when I was going over the book, so why not do the same? Then we have Wonder Woman Earth 1 Volume 1. A pretty controversial. I didn't notice this until I was watching reviews of it, but a pretty controversial Wonder Woman book, and I still like this book. I don't get really mixed. I don't really get too involved with. Oh, this is her character. It's not the same as her original origin. Yada yada yada. And I don't really. I consider because this is already supposed to be an alternate version of Wonder Woman. Still Diana Prince, yes, but an alternate version of it because the Earth 1 version of Wonder Woman. And once you realize that, I think you can enjoy this book. And I did. I actually enjoyed it a lot better than I did the first time. The first time I found it kind of boring. I can see why I found it boring. It is basically just retelling her origin, the kind of same way, but with a few changes here and there. But I will be definitely getting volumes 2 and 3 of this series, and I think Earth 1 in general is something I should check out more. So I liked at least the first volume of the Teen Titans Earth 1, and I liked Batman. I've not finished that yet, and Superman I haven't read yet. Green Lantern I read. I really like that. I think that's it, right? It's Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, and Batman, Superman, and Teen Titans. Is that it? Might be 1 or 2 more, but 5 of them sounds correct. Especially if you take into consideration they have at least 2 volumes. That's at least 10 volumes. Batman and Superman, I believe, got 3. But the rest only got 2. Oh, sorry, and Wonder Woman got 3, by the way. Then last, but certainly not the least, is Walking Dead Book 2, and it finally gets, intriguing throughout. First volume was pretty slow, but they make up for it here, and it gets to that point that I remember it being. Because I have read this before. It gets to that point that I remember it being, a super, page turner almost throughout. I would say books 2 to 12 were, absolutely super entertaining throughout. They kept your interest. I would almost say, the first 3.5 or maybe 3.25 compendiums. Because I can't remember exactly. I would say book 14 started getting slow. But it's just intriguing throughout. Somehow it keeps your interest even past issue 100. It's still as good as it was with even with issue 1. Just insanely entertaining throughout. This is how you do comics. I keep the reader's interest throughout. And the thing is that. Just a quick little comic review. Today's video today I'll be at least recording the books, the revamp of the books I'll be talking about, but I'm releasing that on Wednesday. And Thursday, if I say Wednesday, it's the Image Comics revamp, or and I said revamp from both, and I got confused. But the Image Comics video, I did like the first 10. I have a few more. I would say at least 5 more. So I want to do another one of those because I had an open slot, two open slots technically. I wanted to do that. But if I said that video is going to be released tomorrow, I'm doing it Thursday. And the revamp of the comics I'll be reading for the next few weeks, that'll be tomorrow's video. But that, as I say, is that. Hopefully there's no audio problems. I tested it. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to test it both watching it on my phone and watching it on YouTube. And it might be YouTube's fault, and I'm sorry if it is. But it was weird that the iPad was fine with. So I don't know if it looks like I was moving around the phone. I don't know. My phone also, one speaker doesn't work. I really haven't noticed that for the most part. Even like watching a video on my iPad and then watching on here, I haven't really noticed it. Like the same video. But and that should be the reason why it has always been broken. This is a hand-me-down phone too. I don't know. It's either Apple or YouTube. Not me. Could be, but I doubt it.